Good evening. I like starting these conversations with always the same question. The question would be, it's a very difficult question because most people are dishonest about it, about the answer. So I would like you to be really honest. And my question is, how are you today?
A little bit tired because I woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning, take a train, and to meet some of my associates in Geneva and Nancy. So yeah, quite tired, but happy because we had a good conversation, maybe with a guy who's going to join the company and go in the community. So very happy, tired, but happy.
Excellent. Excellent. So, in fact, you have an intriguing profile. You have an intriguing personality and an intriguing background. And I would vote maybe for those who do not know you, if you could introduce yourself very, very briefly. And then on the second part, we'll go a bit more about your current endeavors.
Yeah. Well, it's not a hiring interview, but I will try to tell the same when I was doing a hiring interview. It was very effective to tell it this way to just sum up my whole experience because I've been working in more like 15 industries and different startups, scale-ups, and big companies. So what I like to tell is like my experience is three kind of legs of a chair. If you just break one, it's going to fall apart. The three legs are this one. The first one, I was an entrepreneur. So I started to challenge myself to go from 0 to 1, basically to start a product market fit. So to understand what client wants and to turn into a profitability company. And so how to create startups. So I created startup myself 3 times. Once in the beer brewing industry, this is why we come back to beer. Once in the education and once in tour operator and extreme sports. And every time it was a passion to me that I tried to transform passion into a profitable business, to understand what clients want and to know if you can start from 0 and end to 1. So start product market fit. The second type of experience is when you go to 1 to 100 and when you scale. And to scale, to learn how about to scale, I work in multiple startup and accelerators like The Family, which is very well known in France, and Station F, the big warehouse with a lot of startups, to understand how to scale startup, especially tech startup in the SaaS and mobile industry. So you can know, okay, then you have a product market fit, but how can you scale with everything which is complex within, which is like hiring, developing sales, structuring the company, and so on. And the last pillars of the chair, the third type of experience is in big corporates, and I work in big corporates as Bayer, Michelin, Vodafone, Nexity, leader in their markets. And I was working in these big companies to create new kind of division and new products. So also work innovation to understand, okay, now you are mature, but how you can maintain maturity to increase by increasing sales and always innovate. So the right line of my experience is innovation and invention through 0 to 1 startups, 1 to 100 scale-ups, and maturity with big corporates.
Excellent. Thank you. Before we talk about your current endeavors, there's, as you mentioned, this you are a serial startup-er, serial entrepreneur. I have a question, and this is really a question I stated, so that has been following me for a while. It's where do you get this burning desire to go on? In other words, at this, I started some companies in my life, as soon as and they failed. They failed. But when they failed, for me the reason was the conclusion was you shouldn't do this. You should do something else. Maybe work more in a corporate or whatever, like less something like this. However, listening to you, I can see that actually you didn't stop. You just went on and went on and went on. And so the question is, how did you manage to do this? I'm just curious. I'm listening to understand what is the driver behind there.
Well, curiously, I didn't have the answer like 2 weeks ago. I was wondering also myself why I wanted every time to see a system, understand how it works, and create something. And then I started a coaching with a girl about the Ikigai framework. It's a Japanese framework to know about your passion, what drives you, what drives the market, and what are you valued for. Okay. And she told me, because when you were young, you were very, very observator, because you were like not trying to meet with other people. When I was a little kid, I was a little bit afraid to meet people, to link with friends. I was not very sporty. I wasn't interested in cars, in swatches, in football teams. So I was not very like in bands of friends and so on, but I was very listening and trying to look what was going on in front of me. And I guess because I developed this when I was young, I became curious to understand how system worked. And every time I had the passion and I had like something that I was interested in, I tried to decipher what I driving people to do this. And to give you an example, if I come back to one of my first company I created, the education company, I was a math teacher for my sister's friends. And I realized that when I spoke to these little kids, like 12, 13, 14 years old, they were very angry that their parents, they miss their classes for a year and they lose 1 year of class. And I realized if I go to their parents and I tell them, I have a very good teacher for you, it's twice the price that you pay on the market, but I'm sure your kids won't lose any time of this year and will pass the class. And all the parents are ready to pay twice if they don't lose 1 year of class from the kids, because time is priceless. And if you do understand this and you speak to people, then you realize you can increase your price and give a higher value with having a profitability business.
Interesting. Interesting. I like this. I like this example. Yeah. So really identifying the pain point and playing on the and twisting the knife on the pain point to say we need to pay more. We need to pay more because it's worth it.
Exactly. Another, because I would say I will come back to beer. Another example is I started a beer brewing company because I was passionate about beer, and I realized when I was in France, it was like 6, 7 years ago, there was not the hype about the beer. Beer was very not well known. People are used to drink wine. So beer was not a big thing in France, you know. And I realized when you go to bars and restaurants and you want to test the wine, people say, okay, they can open a bottle, make you taste the wine, and then close it again. And then they can taste it to the another customer, because the wine won't alterate because you have a closed bottle. If you do this with beer, with a 25 centiliters beer, the beer is fucked off after 10 minutes because it's oxygenate and then it's fucked off. So there is no place in France, and there was no place this time, when you can taste beer. And because you cannot taste beer, the client are not used to the taste of beer. So meaning, if they are not used to the taste of beer, if you want to sell a new thing, which is beer, you need to rely on the only thing they see, which is labels on the bottles. And when I started my beer brewing company, I told myself, don't try to make a recipe people are going to taste and like, because they won't taste it. Try to make labels people enjoy to see. And if they enjoy to see, you brew the beer accordingly to the label that people like to see. And it's always like this kind of observation when you can play with, if you're an entrepreneur, try to observe people, what they do like, what they don't like, because from what they tell you they want to buy, from what they really want to buy, there is a huge gap. And I do remember my first my first job, when I just left school, I was hired by new startups. It was 2 key from there, all people, very skilled people. One from McKinsey. The other one was head of Club Med, so very famous, you know, like Holiday Village and so on, and real estate. And they wanted to create a company in which people invest money to have like second homes, kind of, you know, it was an American concept they want to brought in France. And they told me, we need to raise funds, go to see our client to say if they're going to put the money in the table. And I spent 1 hour per prospect, because all prospects, they told the guy, okay, we're going to put the money on the table, but do they really want to do the check at the end of the day, So I spent 1 hour with this guy, and the first 10 minutes, they say, oh, yes, we want. And then you dig in. And after 1 hour, when you say, okay, do you really want to put 100K euros on the table to fund this company? And they say no, but you only know it after 1 hour, because people, they want to flatten their ego, say, okay, I want to put the money because I'm strong and I have money and so on. But then when you ask them, do you really want to put money? They say no. It's like voting. People say, okay, I'm going to vote this guy, but when they are in the secret place, they vote something else because nobody sees them. So it's always, can you go inside your head of your customer? And this is the key, I guess.
Interesting. I want to connect it with the customer journey, but maybe like we just maybe one step back, because we need to talk about the C word, the crypto, the Web3.
The famous topic.
Yes, we need to talk about this, because after the beer, after the math classes, about the experience, you mentioned like entertainment, you ended up with crypto and Web3, and doing a creating as well a stealth communication agency for entrepreneur in the Web3. So
yes,
my question is, how did you have the idea? How did it start? Can you lead us there? How you build this, and particularly in terms of the customer journey, because I can sense whenever you speak, you mention always the customer centricity, how you try to play that. So let us help us understanding how you came up with the idea, with the concept, how you build customer journey, and what were the learnings and maybe the pivots you had to do along the way.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic. So first, I need to tell about the crypto and Web3, because not every people is used to the terms and words crypto and Web3. Just to explain, so crypto is cryptocurrencies, which is like everybody knows about, like Bitcoin and so on. But beyond Bitcoin, there is a whole industry which we call Web3. We call it Web3 because all what we know about the internet will go to blockchain one day, because blockchain is a new infrastructure. And this is what we call Web3, is like all the new system of Web2, which could join and end up in the blockchain, because it's helping people to exchange value easier and quicker and faster and cheaper. So this is Web3. So now everybody knows what is Web3, which is important to tell, because otherwise people are quite lost. So Web3 is kind of special because it's all started with tech guys. And tech guys, the things that they know is create products, the thing that they don't know is create marketing. And we always say, we have a funny joke in the ecosystem, say, Web2 guys, you have great marketing, but shitty products, because it's been 10 years you're selling the same products, But Web3, you have great products, but shitty marketing. And this is why we need to communicate between Web3 and Web3. And I guess many people that hearing the podcast are CMO or customer success. And guys, just to tell you, you have a huge adventure which is waiting for you in Web3, because as I told, Web3, great product, but shitty marketing. So please help us. This was my bottle to the sea. Not come back about what I do now. So let me speak about GG Crypto. So GG Crypto is what I am doing now, and it's kind of a funny story. So the story began when I was working in the Web3 industry. I was alone in my job to live in Paris downtown. So I was the sole guy on my company living in Paris downtown. So it was very hard to speak with other people who had the same interest. And I spoke to my wife, to my kids, to my dog, and nobody cares. So my wife said, okay, Bitcoin, blockchain, nice. My dog, nothing, and my kids, it's not before all this. So I started to search for a group of people to speak to, and I end up into a meetup called GG Crypto. And why GG Crypto? Because all this started into a bar who was called Ginette and Georgette. And Ginette and Georgette is French name, who start by the letter G. And so in this bar, when people met to speak about blockchain and Web3, we created a WhatsApp group called GG Crypto, because GG like the bar, GNet and Georgette. And everything started like this, because we had this feeling we need to connect and speak about what we feel like being alone in our job about crypto and blockchain that nobody understands about, And so we started to converse it on WhatsApp group, to speak and to chat. And then it became crazy because many people came, and we end up with 1,200 people on the WhatsApp group. So it's crazy. We had like 90,000 messages per year. So it went totally crazy. And then the bar became like too narrowed, So we end up another bar, and then another bar, and another bar, and another bar. And then we realized that if you want to educate the community, we need to have true examples of projects that are working, not ideas, projects. So a guy came and said, hey, I have a project in the blockchain industry on the Web3. Can I pitch the company, the community about it? I said, hey, yes, do it. And we realized that if we had project coming into the community, it was easier to understand what is blockchain and Web3. And people start to came with no knowledge about Web3 and blockchain, because they feel like if they hear projects that have a real use case and market fit in blockchain, they can understand something about Web3 and blockchain. It was like kind of a wow moment for us, because we realized like if you can bring projects on the table, it's better than a masterclass. And if you want to educate your audience and your community, you need to show real, true project. And you need to be very careful, because many people think, okay, there is audience and there is community. Do you know the difference between audience and community?
The engagement, as you imagine?
Yeah, it's like prints and engagement. Audience, people hear you. Community, people engage you. And it's very key to know this, because I guess now we are in the age of communities, because I think 30 years ago, we were on the age of capital. You had capital, you create a factory, you produce, then it's easy to sell because you have no competitors, because the gap was to have capital to create the factory. After, in the late 2000s, it was the age of advertising, because you have internet. So if you have enough money to advertise, you kill the game, you buy ads, and you are well known in the market. And now, because everybody have advertising, you have people who have very short amount of time of their brain, because you have TikTok, you have shorts, people are brain fucked by all this stuff. So the worst thing in life is people attention. We are in the age of community, because you need engagement. You don't need prints, you need engagement. So after the age of capital, the age of advertising, now we have the age of community. And this is why I started this community, because I felt it was very important now not to start a business by looking at something, but starting a business with communities. And then you end up with a business. So it was a totally shift in my mind to say, okay, I've been starting business by observing people behavior, but now I want to start a business with people behaving in a community. Because now you have attention, you have engagement, which is easier to make your project skyrocket. So this is a story about GG, and this is what the mantra drive me to engage myself in GG Crypto. And to go on the story, then we realized that all the projects that came to the community to pitch their project, they bring great value. But the thing, like, they were not prepared. They were not like helped with, they were not like professional. The setup was not ideal for them, because once you say something, you want to be heard, you want to be understood, you want people engagement. So you can have a very good speech, but if nobody hears you, it's worthless. Okay. So what we started is, okay, we have the community, we have WhatsApp group for people to discuss, we have project we want to pitch, but we need something else for project to skyrocket and to be well known and bring the real value and communicate with no effort and seamlessly. So what we did, we create a pitcher package. So we give this package to the project and we help them to communicate before the event, during the event, and after the event. And it's based on personal branding leverage. So what we do is like, okay, first we make a call with this project, say, tell you what is your pain point. And they tell us, okay, I need to raise funds. I need to find a co-owner. I need to find a co-founder. I need to find a colleague. I need to get more clients. I need to test my product. I need to train my pitch skill, whatever. And then we say, okay, there is many pain points. What is your worst pain point? And we're going to focus on it. And then once we focus on it, we say, okay, now we're going to find a narrative that drives people to your pain point. Because you can have a pain point, but if you don't bring people with a story to your pain point, it's totally useless. Just to give you an example, where the girl said, I need to raise funds because I want to start a business selling bicycles in fitness clubs with a helmet to be in the metaverse. So you cycle in the game and you can play with your neighbor and so, yeah, it's great, but nothing is new, you know? But the key differentiator is like, if you can raise money, fundraise, to say to people, you can buy this cycle, give them for free to fitness centers for 3 months, and after 3 months, you come back to the fitness center and say, I take back the bicycle, they're going to cry on you and beg on you to keep them, you know, because they will test it and clients will love it. And so you need money to fundraise to buy this cycle and give you cash flow for 3 months. And then it's giving sense to your pitch because people, they can go into your purpose and they can catch with your purpose, you know. You just fundraise just to fundraise. You fundraise to have a purpose. And this is kind of example of added values that we give to the project. And then once we did it, we use this narrative to create LinkedIn posts, Twitter ads, Instagram ads based on the narrative. Because the better ad that works on LinkedIn, Twitter is when there is a true story about the human stuff that you can bring to the table. If you say, I have a project to do X, Y, Z, nobody cares, okay? People cares about something that is really deep on you and what drives you to this business, you know? And this is why we try to extract from projects and give back to the social networks. And then we have huge engagements. We say, okay, this guy gonna pitch to this project at this party, at this event, at this location. And on the location, we realize that many people, they go pitching to just level up their ego, you know. So they don't care about the audience, the mic, the lights, the noise. Just okay, we're gonna height up my ego, and I just finished, and I'm okay, and I go to bed, and I was happy for my day. But nobody have heard you, you know. So what we started is like we create events with a place to network and a place to pitch. So we differentiate, and we don't open the bar until the pitch are finished. So people really do pay attention. And also what we do is like we have 5 pitch, 5 minutes, because 5 minutes is the time for people's mind attention. And we tell to the audience, you're going to vote for the best pitch after the pitch ends. And we have an app, people vote on live. And it's not a game to guess who is the best project, because it's not a game we play. It's a game to attract people's attention, say, okay, you need to vote thereafter, so pay attention, you know. So you engage with the audience. So you are consumer-centric because you understand that if people are not actor, they don't care. So you give them a power to be actor and to elect the best speech. And the best speech have 1 minute extra on the stage for his call to action. So there is a kind of challenge to say, okay, you win the pitch contest, you have 1 minute extra on the stage to tell whatever you want, you know.
So I love
and
it.
People like it.
What I'll say is that you gave already a lot of nuggets. I'm trying a bit to summarize here. First of all, you are a bit of an unexpected entrepreneur in this domain because you just started by conversations in a cafe, and then the community grew organically, and you decided, in fact, to drive this community into a business. And a business, if I understood correctly, please let me know if I got it wrong. Is that in fact you sell packages, those like pitch packages to help those entrepreneurs to for fundraising purposes and to pitch their ideas. And so,
totally true.
What is interesting is that it's really it goes a bit against the current because usually companies start a product.
Mm-hmm.
And then they grew their audience. You started by the audience and then had the product because then the need gets generated. And this is interesting. And what I understand is that
just to come back on this point, is very true what you say. When you are an entrepreneur and you want to be successful, you need to be say clivant in French is like to be
Customer.
no, you need to be harsh. It means like everybody told us, you need to make tickets for admission to pay, because what I haven't told, like all the events are free for people to come. And all people told us, you need people to pay to come to the events. No, we want to keep it free, because our purpose is to find the next unicorn and to help the next unicorn. And you don't know where it's coming from. And there was a guy who come at this party like maybe 1 year ago, and he was Bubble Maps. He was the best and the bigger fundraise in France in Web3 last year. You know?
I heard about him,
yeah. There was Libertify, who was with a company about trading in crypto, and they won the FinTech Hong Kong pitch contest 2023, like a few weeks ago. And they went to pitch at GG Crypto like in last June. So you never know who's going to come from. And it's why we wanted to keep free. And nobody told us from the events industry, we need to pay the admittance like 5-10 euros. No, we don't want. And people was like telling word on us, saying, you are crazy, you don't follow the rules. No, we want to be unique, It's a huge risk, but it's making it unique,
And can as well create this segue with our conversation, like at the beginning when we talked about the engagement and the understanding the pain points and playing actually on those pain points, because here in fact it's you are on a huge lane side for the audience. They come for free, so it's for them the cost of the opportunity is almost zero. Well, they have to go to the event, but it's next to zero. So you basically remove the excuses. At the same time, then you want to do, once they are there, you want to turn from an audience into a community. So the engagement with the voting, this way they stay focused and listen and attentive. And at the same time, you run a business by coaching, helping the communication of entrepreneurs who are maybe extremely good in technology, but maybe not as good in, I would say, in social skills or business. I would say in business. And that's very interesting. What is very intriguing is that you managed to do this without marketing. Actually, do you have a marketing department?
Just to be clear, we don't have any website. So it's totally out of the rules. Like, you need to have WhatsApp. We don't have any WhatsApp.
Do you have TikTok?
We don't have any No.
No TikTok.
We have only a Linktree and a WhatsApp group.
Gosh. Interesting. Question then. Because when you grew the community from 0 to, how many people do you have now? 1,000, 2,000?
1,200 on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah. On the WhatsApp. How did you manage to remain customer-centric? Because I'm pretty sure that the need of the customers from day one, at the beginning, from 0 to 1 or 1 to 100, have evolved when it starts to reach 1,000. So how did you manage to remain customer-centric?
So it's an association of key elements. The first key element is you need to tell a story to people, which is very important, because the first thing I did is, like, when I met Mint with my co-founder, tell me about how everything started, when I joined him as a full-time partner. And he told me, okay, I was in a bar and I connected people on WhatsApp, called Jeanette and Georgette and so on. And I've told you this story, so you can catch up with the emotion, So every time there is one guy joining in the community, we onboard him and we say, okay, this is the story of the community. This is where all it started, and it was the ambition and the vision. And every time we have an event, we always start by the pitch that we do ourselves. Say, you are in DG Crypto events. This is how all it started, and we tell the story, so people can focus and say, okay, I know where I am. I know what I'm belonging. I know what I'm driving by. So the story is very, very important. To people have a common storyline. Okay, and then we focus on the mission and the vision. The mission we always tell to people is like, we are here to find the next unicorn, because it's a so high, like goal that everyone wants to reach it, and it elevates the speech to people. And we say, okay, we want to find the unicorn, but if you are this unicorn, and once a day you are this unicorn, just you pay your restaurant to all the DG Crypto members. So we try to stay friendly and open, because we don't take ourselves seriously. So we could just say we're gonna here to find the unicorn, but it's like every accelerator of startups, But when I saying, okay, we are here to find the next unicorn, but if you are this unicorn and once you success, you pay to restaurant to everybody. Nobody say that, It's what make our differentiate.
Yeah, usually
and we also
they want shares. They want some.
And people come to share, and we make a kind of I don't say in English. In French, it's rebut. It's like when you add some pictures, just like a few pictures side by side.
Image puzzle.
Image puzzle, and we have a rocket because it's startup. We have a unicorn. So if you're startup and you became a unicorn, and then you have a beer. So you pay your beer to everyone. It's on my LinkedIn profile, and we just show this image puzzle to everybody, and everybody remembers. So this is how you start to be customer centric. Is like to speak to people emotions, emotions, storytelling, vision, mission. And then you comes to values, because, okay, I get the story, I get the mission, I get the vision, but what is your values? Because if the values are not shared by members, they don't feel themselves good in the community. And the values we try to drive is kindness, because we are not here for profits. When you create a community, you're here to help people without comeback intention, with a payback intention. So you said to people, first you need to deliver. First you need to give people something before you ask for something. And it's a key in every networking. Networking, first you need to give people something. Because if you network by trying to ask something to people, they don't care. And they will drop you, So first we say, okay, we're here for kindness. We're here for openness. Why openness? Because the blockchain is a new universe that can welcome everybody. And each event, we try to welcome 20% of people that never been heard of DigiCrypto or nor blockchain. And people come without knowing nothing about crypto. And now we start to think about, okay, we have blockchain, but we can open to marketing, Web2, AI and stuff, because the backbone is the same. The value is the same, kindness, openness. And the last one, which is a key value, is helpfulness. You need to be helpful. By helpful is like, okay, you have something in your mind, you need something, you just send the word to the WhatsApp group and people are going to help you. They help you because alone, you're nothing. It's like a kind of a network of a human cell. If a human cell is alone, she can do nothing. If a human brain cells, your neurons, if they are together, they are powerful. And we say, okay, you need to really help us, because if you're together, you are powerful. So we drive these values in all our messaging, all our tones, all the way we create sentences and we write posts. We try to communicate this value in the way we write and the way we speak. And this is why it drives the community together.
I would like to challenge a bit this, because I have a question here, a real mixed feelings in me listening to you now. Let me explain. As a human being, I'm completely 100%. I can subscribe to what everything you said, 100%. In business, it's very, we tend to not to focus on intangibles, but more on tangibles. In other words, when you say helpfulness, support, kindness, this is intangible. This is great assets to have to build relationship, one human being to the other, 100%. However, in business, does it really work? In other words, how do you, for instance, if I ask you, how do you measure customer success? How do you know that your clients are happy and are successful? And how do you know that you contribute if the KPI basically
I love your point, because you've got a key point that I wanted to follow on.
Your gauge, because the gauge is intangible, whereas in fact usually we live in a world where gauge are more tangible. So I would like to understand a bit how you see it.
It's a very interesting, because this is why I wanted to drive the conversation too. And you have a key points they're going to rely on and step on. You need to see every business like a pyramid. Okay, you have your entry points, which is a community, and community are driven by values, by common interests, and by openness. Okay, you need to you feel like others, but you need to be open and kind, because otherwise you won't go to a community, because you're not here like in a business, you're not here to buy your shoes or to buy your meal. Okay, you're here to be understood, to be heard, and to be helped. And this is very true. But you've got a point, and you're very true. Once you've done your community, okay, then you can see pain points arise. We have seen this pain point of pitching arise. This is why we create pitcher packages. And the other pain point we now see arising, and this is why you got your point, is people getting professional. And in Web3, at the beginning, everyone was amateur. And now people getting professional. We have very well-known lawyers, we have C-levels, we have key influencers, key politics people, key medias, like we have the whole key leader of Web3 in the group, and they want something else. They want something more tangible. And this is why this year, in 2024, we are opening a membership for people, for professional people, to be more in a circle in which they have the same needs to network with trusted people that can bring opportunities to them. And this is something we felt in the community, because many people came to us, say, okay, this is great, your party, but I don't want to speak to the guy who just discovered Bitcoin. I want to speak to a guy to invest in real estate. I want to speak to a CMO to have a new CMO strategy. I want to speak to a customer success guy because I have some issue with my clients, because it's not Web3. Web3 has the same problem that everyone else. They need to invest, they need to learn, they need to share, they need to be recognized, they need to network. And this can be done with anyone in the other industry. It can be one in tech, in AI, in marketing, whatever. And this is why you go to key points. This is why I had to travel today, because I was hiring a new associate. We're going to take care of this membership. And now the idea is to become of the top #1 network for key leader in this industry, AI, Web3, marketing, finance, in 2024.
Wow.
The goal.
Wow. Thank you for sharing this. Like, I think personally, I'm very excited to see the results in 2024. I'm sure the audience as well will share, and those who will watch the recording will share the same excitement and curiosity. But I have a question now. I start to understand how you think or how you approach, and you mentioned as well that you started to lead some coaching to people, to professionals. My question would be maybe to have a critical view on your experience. And my question would be really if you could start from scratch, restart today, the community. Imagine that now there's a new, let's say like a GG didn't exist, but you have all this knowledge. We're in a parallel universe, in a metaverse, and you can create right now a new community. My question would be, what have you learned? What would you do differently? Where would you focus? And what do you think would be the best bet to start a new community from scratch? Yes. How would you do it?
It's a hard question. I don't like to say if I had to start over again, I will soon do things differently, because I won't. I know myself that I will do the same mistake and have the same success. it's easy to say I want to come back in time and I will think differently, but in the reality, you will do the same because humans are the same, and you are what you are, and if you are what you are, and if you like what you are and you like what you do, it's like you are in the right place and the right time. So I
Thank
like
you
what
for
I
the
do,
honesty.
and
Many people wouldn't be that honest, but like, thank you.
and I think people will say I will have done things differently is because they have regrets. But even if you have regrets, it's good to have failed and come back over and try to overcome challenges because it's what you make your success. It's always test and learn, test and learn, test and learn, test and learn. And the key of success of entrepreneurship is to be fast in testing and learning. People that are afraid to put their hand in the mud and roll up their sleeve, they cannot succeed. They cannot succeed. And one of the key examples is my wife. My wife, she's always afraid to fix things. And I try and I just fix things like in 2 seconds, say, hey, it's quite easy because she was afraid to break it. But if you're afraid to break something, you won't try to succeed. And I do remember one of my old remembering I was a kid. My father, he was working in the computing industry in the early 90s. It was the first big computers that can bring to your home. It was a big suitcase, the first time like ever computers. And I was so curious to see how it worked. I came back into the stair during the night and I stole the computer from his desk and I went back into my room and I tried to just break it down apart to see how it was working because I was so intrigued and curious to see how it was working. And on the morning, I gave back to my father, which was a little bit broken. Say, oh, sorry, I looked to your computer stuff. It was worth like 100 euros at this time, 1,000 euros. And this is how I discovered computers. But if you're afraid to roll up your sleeve and put your hand in the mud, you won't do nothing. And this is one of the key learning of my life is like, don't be afraid to break things because this is the only way you can succeed.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I will take the question a bit later. I have a question. It's about the crypto and Web3 industry here.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the fluctuations because, there has been like a bull market, bear market. So now we are a bit trading, in fact, into a zone that is always a bit in between.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, you faced the bear market. You were in this industry. And in a bear market, the hardest thing is to keep customers because those are the moments where customers simply flee. So my question would be, in this bear market, in your business, how did you manage to keep your customers? And what was the strategies you implemented? And what are maybe some lessons or maybe principles that you have learned that you could use as well in the future and that could be beneficial for the audience?
Yeah, I need to come back in my memories like it was maybe 1 year, 2 years ago because I was working in a scale up at this time. We did like investment services, and we did investment services in Bitcoin mining. And at the time, the bear market, the fall of the market was very, very, very harsh. It was harsher than today because today is quite flat. But a year and a half ago, it was very hard times because people were afraid of it. And as a CEO, I had the duty to maintain the client base. We had like 4,000 clients, and my promise is not having lost any one customer during the bear market. And how we did it is 3 things. The first one is as a leader, as a C-level, you need to speak to your clients. Because if you trust your customer success manager and account manager, they don't have the guts to say, okay, the company is in your hands, the survival of the company is in your hand, so you need to connect with your key clients because you need to come back to them because the time you sold them something, it was a bull market, and now their needs and feeling have changed because it's bear market. So everything they told you maybe 1-2 years ago, maybe have changed. You need to reconnect with them because their behavior, their human feeling, they need, maybe because they are tight on their budget, maybe they need to invest in something else which is rising and they see the investment like dropping. So you need to understand all this and you need to call them and you need to speak to them as a leader. Don't hide behind your laptop. First rule. Second rule, be constant. Because what we did, like every week, we made a video live in which clients ask questions and we answer live every week of the year. And people seeing us constant, they told us because they are constant, they are in a good shape and they're going to survive. Okay? So you need to have your communication constant. If people see your communication dropping, they are guessing, okay, maybe they are worried by something. They don't have time to do communication because there is something more important, more urgent that need to their attention, meaning the business is not getting very good, you know? So you need to be constant in your communication, business as usual. And the third point, don't tell everything. Because I had this example, one of my co-founder, he was very emotional. You put him in front of a camera, all this emotion will flow above and say, you see, it's our time and we are struggling, and even if you don't say it, you can feel it, and you need to have people that can control their emotion and speak to your clients with a light tone that everything is going fine, So three things, speak to your clients as a C-level, be constant, and don't tell everything.
Thank you very much. I'm just conscious of the time, and plus there are some questions I would like as well to take. So, yes, you mentioned 2024 about the objective you want to set for 2024. Are there some other dream or the targets or the objective you're setting for yourself or for your business for 2024? What can we wish you to achieve?
I wish I was right on the community stuff about the capital era, the advertising era, and the community era. It maybe seems basic, but it's a good feeling I had for which I changed my whole career. So I hope I was right about it. For now, it's maybe proving it was right, but we never know. Maybe I was totally wrong, and maybe in 2 years from now, I would be totally changing my mind. But you need to test and learn. So I hope for 2024, I was right to help the GG community to arise and to develop, because I do remember when I started to involve myself in this community, many people that saw the community in the early times said, you crazy, it's a band of guys drinking in a bar, they don't worth any attention, they are useless, it's very amateur, If you listen to people who have done nothing, And I was, okay, I have a feeling of this, and I want to follow my feeling, So I hope I was right. And the second thing I hope for 2024 is we're going to find the next 100 key leaders to put in our membership and leaders to help the community, to have people to help them, because in the community we have people that are maybe not very as good as you in marketing, in customer success, and they need your talents, they need your skills from the Web2 industry and all the marketing industry to be their leaders and to be their people that are going to drive them to success and be the next unicorn.
I love it. Thank you. Before I go to the questions, I'm just conscious of the time. Is there maybe a topic or something you would like to share as well with the audience, and you think it's important and you wanted really to talk about tonight?
I think something I had in my mind is the thing of haters, because in the customer success and marketing, you are sometimes confronted to haters, and people that hate you. It's the most direct path to love, because people that hate you, they pay attention to your business. So don't underestimate haters. And the best lovers you can have is haters that you turn into lovers. And it's one of the key learnings I had in my experience. The people that hated us, we spoke them directly to us, say, okay, you want to speak to us? Speak to us. And we had a conversation. At the end of the conversation, they realized they were totally wrong, or we had something in common, and they didn't flip on being lovers, and they were our like biggest ambassador.
Did it really happen like this? You had a case where it's
it
really,
happened. Like,
you flip them really.
Yeah, there are people on the network that say very bad stuff about us, and then we call them. Okay, you want to have the call with the CEO? We're going to speak like direct to direct, And we had a call with C-levels and these guys, and then he become a totally lover and a big ambassador of a brand. So maybe one of the key lessons is like, as a CEO or the C-level, try to save some time of your agenda and call your haters.
I like this. Actually, it's a good motto. Call, have a coffee or have a cup of tea with your haters time to time. It's interesting. Okay. There's a question here from the audience. It's more questions related to the pitches and all like for the industry. And the question is, from all the pitches you have seen so far, what are your favorite use cases of blockchain or Web3? That's a question. And maybe I'm going to add a sequel to this question is what are maybe some predictions or maybe some directions as well in the future that for the audience to keep in mind regarding Web3, because you believe that there could be some future unicorns in those areas.
Okay, so the question is twofold. I'm gonna answer the two questions one by one. The pitch I do remember the most is not the best pitch, but it's the last pitch I had to drive to the audience. It was a chiropractor, so doctor. Chiropractor is like it's fix your spin, And he came to me and said, "Hi, I'm a chiropractor. I just landed from China. I was a doctor in China, and I landed to France, and I have no clientele. I have no clients. I just opened my cabinets, and I'm not like known in France." And I told him, "Okay, take our package. We're gonna drive you to pitch, and we're gonna make you a star." And then we started to create his narrative, and I liked this narrative. His narrative was, okay, I was helping fixing spin guys in China who were doing trading in the trading rooms. And in trading, the way you are seated, it's helping your blood to go in your brain differently. The way you are seated, the flow of blood is different. If you sit like this or like this, the flow is not very good. If you sit like this in a native position, and we saw like when you were a kid in the belly of your mom, straight on, the brain is more regulated, and you get better performances. And so we create a pitch to say, okay, if you want to trade Bitcoin with success, take care of the way you are seated and buy the share. And this is how he drives his clientele.
And it worked? Did it work? Like
it worked a lot. Yeah. Now you've got a YouTube video, he's a star, and everybody's gone to his cabinets. And we call it the Cairo of the Web3.
Wow.
And the second fold of the question was prediction for
the direction. Okay. So where do you think are the potentials in Web3, untapped potentials?
I won't say anything about the price of Bitcoin because I don't have a crystal ball and I don't say anything about it. I'm not a trader. Something I'm going to say is very surprising. I do think the future of blockchain is no blockchain. Meaning like in 5 years from now, you won't heard any things about blockchain because it will be fully integrated in your life. It's the same as internet. When you spoke about people who was working at Cisco system in the early 2000s, you spoke with engineer, they felt they're going to change the world and meeting, and you could understand nothing what they said, And now you say, I work at Cisco, yeah, it's great, you're engineer, it's good, But you don't know they're working in the internet because it's fully integrated in your life. And I do really think blockchain will be fully integrated in everyone's life in 5 years from now, and you won't never speak about crypto blockchain because it's going to be part of your life.
Interesting. Thank you very much. if there's no other questions, then I have one for you: is where people can find you on the WhatsApp, GG group, the GG show, and
Alors,
but where
I
can they
think
find you if they want to go on with this?
the easiest way is on LinkedIn. So you just type Augustin, Augustin, with the letter 2M, Augustin 2M, and you're gonna find me with the emoji with the rocket.
Because for the moment you don't have any fake accounts like doppelganger, but soon this could happen. But the real account is Augustin.2M.
Yeah, 2M, and there is also a link tree. So you have a link tree, you have to link.tree/ Augustin 2M, and you have my contacts, agenda, everything.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
So if you are a customer success guy, CMO guy, and you are interested to count in this world and make a difference to the community, be happy to join and reach out to us in any form.
And we will definitely spread the word.
Last word, we also have started a community in Switzerland.
Oh,
in Geneva. Yeah.
When is the next event? When is it planned?
7th of December.
In Geneva.
In Geneva.
Will it be in French or it will be in English?
Mixed up. It's not an event that we do the same in Paris. It's an organization with all the Web3 actors meeting together for a Christmas party. But we will be there co-organizing the events.
So if you could send me maybe just the link or where the audience could subscribe to the event, let me know and I will share it in the channel.
My pleasure.
Well, I love having those conversations, and my struggle is that it's always too short. I would love to spend much longer to go on with the conversation because it's so fascinating. But maybe we can have you another time later when you're a bit further away, like in 2024, and talk more about, for instance, the haters or the experience you have on launching the activity in Switzerland. And anyway, we're going to pay a lot attention to what you do.
Thank you, Clément. It was very nice and kind to welcome me in your event and transmission, and I'm very happy to connect with your clubs, with any members, having a conversation, giving some tips, just exchange some words or drink physically. Happy to share it, and thank you very much for organizing it.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much for being genuine, direct, and really, really honest. It was really interesting. Thank you again, and we'll see us soon or speak soon.
Yeah, sure. Sure to be here.
Thank you.
Bye bye.